Good evening, it's Audrey from the Creator's Attic. It is November the 24th today, so tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and I wanted to do another video since it's closing in on Christmas. I wanted to do another video on something that would be great for Christmas presents. Now, I am not sure about people copying ideas. I feel like mine from my store and from someone else, and I've spoken with them about this, have actually gotten some ideas and used them to make videos, which is fine. They're very well known. It's fine. But this morning I saw one that came out and I was like, no way, I've got to do mine because that's way too close to the things that I just put in my Etsy store. And I really wanted to be the one to share this idea with you. So if you saw it this morning, I do a little bit different the way I do mine. So hey, we're all here to craft and we're all here to get along. And so I just know that it seems like I've been copied several times, which is a great compliment, but I just wanted to make sure that I was the one that could actually show you how to do this particular thing for Christmas, even if you saw something similar this morning. But anyway, it's all good. Anyway, and I loved all my crafting friends who are on YouTube, so you know who you are. So basically, I just wanted to show you what okay, so this weekend I had a big craft show, and I made tons of these. So obviously, I couldn't have made these within the 14 hours that the video has been out, or however long, but these are great Christmas presents. You can do many different things with these. Let me show you what I did. This is so fun, and I just kind of invented this idea, and it stuck, and I made so many of them, and people love them. All you need is to have some material, a Scotch Create glue stick, permanent. Remember to use the permanent. Some type of string. I double or triple mine, and the integrity of mine is still it's fairly new, so it's pretty good. I prefer Tyvek tape, but you can use something else that's pretty, that will hold on to things. So basically, those are the main supplies you need. And another thing I can't forget is a piece of fabric that will work. And the final thing, if you want to not put blank pages in, as in making a journal, I went to the dollar store, and this is the part I'm so excited about. I went to the dollar store and I got a 2022 weekly planner. I know a lot of people have gone to cell phones, but I am still one of those people that likes something that I can visually see and tangibly hold and write in. And so I've basically taken the pages out, and I've made these journals out of them. This one has cute little kittens. This is just like cotton fabric that you can just buy at the craft store. Then I've taken some cardstock, and I have cut this down, and I'm going to show you the dimensions, but I've cut this down, and then basically I have tied them in the middle. And you're probably wondering, I have not showed this on camera and I've not seen it done before, so I don't know if other people do it, but I'll show it to you. I have come up with a way to hide my stitch, and no, it's not by putting it on the outside and going in the other way. There's another way I can tuck this back in, and you can hide your stitch. So let's make some of these. I have two guillotines. One is the one that I bent because I was cutting cardboard on it. And one of them is my good guillotine, which is this one, because I so graciously was gifted another one when I bent mine. I was so upset about it. And so I am going to show you how I make these. And what we're going to do is, first of all, I'm going to cut my chipboard. Now you can use, I think the video this morning where I saw it done, the person used a little bit flimsier material. I'm not going to say exactly what, but it was not this. This is chipboard. You can use, this is an 8.5 by 11 chipboard, and it's medium. And I bought it from Amazon. You can get 20 sheets for like 20 I mean, sorry, no. 25 sheets for like 50 cents. They're like 50 cents a piece after you buy them on Amazon. So they are super cheap. Think about this. You have a piece of fabric, a chipboard, and some, obviously, your glue and tape supplies, and a Dollar Tree planner. And voila, you have the coolest Christmas present for anybody. Because you can see that I did this in Georgia colors. I am an Alabama fan. Roll Tide. And I think we're going to be playing these guys in the SEC championship. As a matter of fact, I know we are. So it's game on. I am an Alabama fan. Please don't hate me too much if you're a Georgia fan or some other fan. But anyway, I made these. You can use different team fabrics. Here's neutral. I'm going baseball. Here's one with the Braves. I'm from Georgia, so I'm supposed to like the Braves, and I do very much. But you can also do these for teachers. When I was a teacher, I had to have a planner, and I used pretty much this exact same planner from the Dollar Tree. But I didn't know how to do all this, but you can do these for your teachers in teacher fabric. Great gifts if your child is in middle school or high school, or is departmentalized in any type of way in elementary school. Perfect gifts for teachers. They're a little bit too big to do stocking stuffers. Wow. Okay. Stocking stuffers. But anyway, let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to pull my guillotine over here and that I used to cut cardboard and chipboard. And like I said, you don't have to use, you can use them in a folder. You can use cereal boxes, and you can cut them to whatever size if you can't find the Dollar Tree planners. If you're looking anywhere around here in South Georgia, I think I bought up most of them, so you may have to go to like Atlanta or something to find some. I'm just kidding. Okay, so anyway, it's 8.5 by 11, like I said. So this is what I'm going to do. My planners are, when I measure them, my planners come out to be about 10.5 inches wide by about 7 3/4, or no, longer than that, about 8, I guess. So they're about 10 opened up. They're about 10 by 8, these planners from the Dollar Tree. And you'll be able, there's several different ones, so if you want to do a bigger one or a smaller one, they have those. I picked the medium size, but you can just kind of get your own measurements, but I'm just going to show you what I did. I liked to leave a little bit of space around my edges. These are no-sew, people. I love the no-sew because even though I can sew, I think I must thread my needle 100,000 times, or if every time I try to sew for anything longer than a foot. So anyway, okay, so I'm going to cut this directly in half, but first of all, I'm going to cut it in case it cuts a little crooked. I will have at least the same height going, but I'm going to put this at 7 5/8 inches. And I'm just going to come down with my guillotine, and I'm going to just cut it. And you might want to hold on to it if you have a guillotine. You can use a box cutter or whatever if you want to, but watch your hands. I just prefer guillotine because I'm a pianist by profession. So, yes, I try to take care of my fingers. Okay, now I just cut it in half, so it's I'm going to use the 11-inch piece in length, so I know that 5.5 is half of 11, so I'm going to put it here on my mark. I'm going to hold it so it doesn't slide, but very slowly do this on my guillotine. Okay, now, here we have it done. So I'm going to lock my guillotine, and I'm going to show you what you will do next. I'm going to take my piece of fabric, and I just have, this one is just a piece of cute dog fabric. And yes, you can, if it's wrinkled, like you can get fat quarters. This came from Walmart. It's a fat quarter, and you can make like 2 or 3 out of a fat quarter, depending on if the image is facing all one way, because I can usually get 2 from a fat quarter if I half it, and then I can use this length over here if it's not facing one way. But this is facing one way, so I can get 2 out of it. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I have enough height. Oh, and like I said, you don't have to, going back to ironing, you do not have to iron this because the glue, if you smooth it over, the glue will get out the wrinkles. Mostly, I hate ironing, but sounds like I hate doing everything. I really don't. I want to get stuff made. I don't want to have to pull out all this extra stuff and fix stuff and all this if I can just simply do it without having to do it. So, anyway, what I want to do is I'll show you in a minute. I leave 1/2 inch when I'm making my spine. I'm going to show you how I form my simple spine. For this, it works perfectly. But it's about 1/2 inch when I go to glue it onto these chipboard pieces. But I do want at least, I think this may be about maybe 1/2 inch to 1 inch is what you want. I would really prefer to have mine be, let me see if I move it down here. Prefer them to be, yeah, this is better. I prefer them to be a little bit longer, maybe 1 inch or 3/4 of an inch. And then I want to have a good bit, I want the same on my sides. Sorry, let me move you out. Okay, I'm still new to using this video camera, so I'm in the floor because I don't know how to edit yet. So, anyway, let's see. Let me see if I can move you. I'm so afraid my camera's going to fall off of here or it's going to stop and I'm going to have to start over and I don't know what I've said. So, you know, if you make YouTube videos and you're not very good at it or you're new to it, you totally get what I'm saying. Okay, so I love my grids on the guillotine because I can line up my corners, which are going to be, and I know that each of these grid lines is about 1/2 inch, or is 1/2 inch, excuse me. So I can line up the tops here, and I can get this right angle here in this square, and I have my 1/2 inch here. And I know that I want to get this exactly because I want my book, when I close it, to stand up evenly. So I'm going to take my Tyvek tape. This is DuPont Tyvek tape. It's used in, I believe, in air conditioning jobs and pipe jobs. But it's very thin, but it's really strong, and it accepts my glue. My glue actually sticks to this, so it works great. So what I'm going to do, I'm trying not to get in the way, and I'm not used to working with a video. Okay, I'm going to try to make sure that these are lined up at the top. Okay. And they're on the line. Okay, now there's a 1/2 inch between them. And I'm a little perfectionistic sometimes, so it doesn't have to be this exact, but I'm going to take out my Tyvek tape and I'm just going to stretch it out, and I'm going to try to get center, like the center of the Tyvek in the center of my, my journal. I'm going to make sure I didn't move my book any, because any unevenness will show up when you try to line your paper. And this is a little bit forgivable. This will come up a little bit, and it may rip your chipboard a little bit, but if it's not too bad, don't worry. Okay. All right, so I'm going to leave this end down here stuck to the thing because I don't want anything moving, and I have this end stuck. So I'm going to pull up this end, and I'm just going to wrap it around like this, okay, like that. And then I'm going to take this up, and I'm going to flip it over, and then I am going to, I'm wondering if that moved at all. That seems like it may have moved on me a little bit. Only on video, probably because I was nervous. Okay, let me try this one more time. I would pause it and just do it again, but I don't know. I can't get my video to like pause and then restart in the same place. It wants to start a new video. Okay, so I'm just going to not talk, and I'm just going to do this. Since I already told you how to do it, I'm going to do it. You want to make sure that it is equal distance. I can do these much faster than I'm showing you, but I'm trying to slow down a little bit when I'm talking to you so you can see. Okay, so it comes around, the string. Okay, it comes and it wraps around. You don't want to do it too tight, but you want it to be smooth. If too tight, it'll make your spine even harder to close. But you don't want wrinkles. So maybe kind of hold it down a little bit like this. And I prefer to go around at least twice, and you can kind of see where you go around and it meets again. Okay, now if you use light colored fabric that you can see through, you will be able to see this Tyvek wording through here, so you might want to cover this outside, glue some white paper or something like that on the outside, and then glue your fabric to that. But I'm going to cut this because you only need like twice. You don't need it too thick. You need a durable spine, but you don't need it too thick. All right, I'm going to do this like this. This is for lining up purposes, and it lines up, and I can see. Now, I'm going to train my spine like this. I'm going to go down. And when I add a little bit more thickness, usually don't like to have these in here, but anyway, it shouldn't show up too much, if at all. I'm not selling this one anyway. I want this to pretty much line up all the way around, and I'm training it. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to flip it back over and see how it's wanting to be a little iffy here. I'm going to train to pinch where this chipboard comes away, and there's just the tape, and I'm just going to pinch it like that, and then I'm going to decide which way lays down the flattest for me, and it can be either one, trust me. Sometimes it's either side, but this tape, and with the glue drying and the fabric drying, it will go the way that you want it to go. So I'm just going to try it this way. Now, remember, let's do our fabric before I start telling you to remember things. Okay, you want to make sure that if you rip your fabric like I do in this particular project, that you do not get any of these strings like this underneath your glue, okay? So remember, you're going to, the side that you want down is going to be the side that you need to glue onto here. So first of all, I'm going to get my fabric straight, and like I said, I wanted about 1 inch around each side, so, or 1 inch, excuse me, around each side. So I'm just going to cut here, and I'm just going to rip it, tear it. I don't know, some people like to tear paper and they say they find satisfaction with that. I don't necessarily find satisfaction with it, but I do find that sometimes I enjoy actually ripping this fabric. I mean, I just like, instead of sitting there and cutting it, measuring it, I just rip it, because basically you're not going to see this part anyway. It's going to fold under, so I'm going to get that inch out about like I want it, you know, give or take. Okay, so now I have my fabric. Let me lay this down. Okay, and I want to center it. But first, I'm going to remove the fabric. I'm going to lay something down. I love this magazine. I'm not trying to advertise for this magazine or not advertise for this magazine, but things are way too expensive for me in there, so I'm going to use it as my glue mat. Okay, so I'm taking this, and I'm going to take my Scotch Create glue stick. I may have buried it under something here. Oh, good grief. Okay, I'm sitting on it kind of. All right, I'm going to wind it up a little bit, and I'm just going to make sure that I get all of my edges. I'm going to check and see if I'm in frame. Okay, here we go. I'm going to make sure I get all of my edges first and really apply this glue stick. I mean, like really. And you might have to wind it out. I usually get 4 journals out of a glue stick. So then you're going to come in the middle, and some people do little X's and some people have little patterns. I just can look in the light and see when it glistens all over and there aren't any really glistening spots. Get that spine good right here. That it is, that I have covered the whole thing. And if you don't like gluey fingers, they do get a little gluey in this, but there are times when Baby Wipe to the Rescue becomes a very useful motto and tool to use. So definitely have Baby Wipe to the rescue, which I don't. So hold on, please, because you will have to get handsy with this with your glues unless you want to wear gloves, and that's just gonna not really. It's gonna kind of defeat the purpose, because then you'll have to wipe the gloves off. Okay. Anyway, so now I have this. I'm going to move this and lay down my fabric again. I'm going to make sure that I don't have any stringies under it, because they will show through the fabric. See, one's trying to get there. Okay. It doesn't really matter on the inside so much, but on the outside it does. Okay, I'm going to try to get it. Aiming for center. and let's see, can you see me? Okay, yes, okay. Lay it down. And if you're not doing anything with plaid or grid, if you don't lay it down exactly in the middle, it's okay. Okay, so kind of smooth it down. Make sure that spine, you go down that spine, you can use a bone folder, you can use finger tool. Go down the middle here, and then flip it. And then make sure that you do this to the spine, where you'll have that, so, and then make sure you smooth this way. See, I've got a little, oh, that's not, okay. Smooth this way. Okay, and see, my lines are gone that I had. They're gone except for the part here that's hanging off and it'll be glued in. Okay, so next I'm going to grab glue mat and I'm going to make sure that I change pages. I say glue mat, this is my glue mat. Change things, and now I'm going to change to a different page so I don't get glue on my fabric, and I'm going to go to this option. Okay, so what I'm going to do, get my stringies out of the way. Y'all, when I was doing, getting ready for my craft show and I was doing tons of these over the past several weeks, my fingers were so covered in string, and I was like, oh, get off of me, get off of me, get off of me. It was horrible. And my room just looked like I had just shredded fabric for like 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, anyway, back to this. I'm going to do my corners like this, like do a triangle. Like where the corners are triangulated, I'm going to do each one. It doesn't matter if you do them all at once or if you do them in order, if you're a fast gluer. Okay, now this is something else that I don't normally see when people are gluing these down, and I don't really do this with paper, but I do it with fabric, and I will show you why. I'm going to come back and I'm going to put it where I will be folding in the edges. I'm going to put it on the actual fabric, and I'll show you why this is very important. This I did learn by trial and error. It really helps in the long run. See how I'm talking about the string? It's already starting on me. Okay, now let me make sure you're still in frame. Okay, yay. Okay, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to take this corner, and I'm going to fold it down, and then I'm going to crisply, like you would wrapping a present, crisply do this edge like this, and because I had the glue on the fabric as well, it sticks down nicely when I go to fold the other way. So I'm just going to take each corner, and if I have some strings, like I say, that end up coming on this side, it's okay. The cardstock tends to hide that, so you don't have to worry about that. But I'm just going to do all 4 corners very quickly, and make sure you crease them down, because that will give you these very nice crisp edges on the side. They may not be pointed edges, but they're somewhat pointed, and it gives it a very nice finished professional look. Professional for homemade. And so anyway, now I have my 4 corners done like this. Now I'm going to be doing more of that fabric gluing on the fabric, but not so much. And now I've lost my glue stick. That is like I need to write a song called I Always Lose My Glue Stick. So, okay, anyway, I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it on the fabric corners where I have, where I'm going to be putting the glue, and I'm only going to put glue very well around each edge. So right now I'm going to do this. I prefer to do the sides first, but I don't really think it matters. Just do both sides that are parallel to each other first. Like either do these top and back, or top and bottom, or do the side and side. Now I'm going to come over and I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to smooth it down like this, and see how well, I said, okay, you can't see it yet because I haven't done this top. I'm like telling you to see stuff and you haven't even had a chance to see yet. Okay, now go and just glue. I haven't put glue in the center of my book yet. You're going to flip it. Bloop. You have to make that sound too. And then it does give these really nice edges, if you could see them. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not really going to put it on the fabric because I'm going to be gluing this whole surface in a few secs. I said secs, like seconds. Down, and you will you will be putting glue all over this, so if you go a little over on the glue and over where the fabric's going to fold over, it's okay because you're going to be putting glue there anyway. Okay, so now I'm talking kind of fast because I really want to finish this video without it being too terribly long. Okay, so I'm going to flip this over. We're trying for that and make it as short as I can without Speedy Gonzalez Speedy Gonzalez, you know him? Yeah, trying not to do him for the video. Got it. Okay. Here are the sides. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Oh, that one's okay. And kind of smooth them down and make sure that they're stuck. Okay, yay. I'm not gonna worry about pulling this thread up too much because, well, you can, but if it doesn't pull easily, it may pull your whole thing off because it's not glued yet. And guess what? I'm not going to wait for the glue to dry in the fabric. I'm going to move this out of the way very quickly, and I'm going to use my good guillotine for just a second. That other one is not bad. It's just not, it's just, this one is the one that I use when I cut paper to make sure it's exactly straight. Okay, this is a 8.5 by 11 piece of black cardstock. I'm going to show you how I cut it down. Again, I am not going to be cutting off any on the 11-inch side, but I am going to cut to 7 3/8. The fabric was 7 5/8. I'm going to do this to 7 3/8. Making sure that I get it. Didn't I just totally... Oh my goodness, you know what? I'm so busy talking that I think I just went 6 3/8. Okay, sorry. I did that a couple of times when I was making these too. Okay, 7 3/8. Okay, getting in a hurry too much, but I don't want to bore you with just too much. Okay, there we go. Okay, moving good guy out of the way. Moving good guy, but I can be hard on him a little bit. Dude over here. Now, you do not want to get glue on the side it's going to be facing up if you can help it, especially with black, because black will show glue. I am going to move this. I'm going to get another glue page, and I'm going to lay this down on the side that I want the glue on. Let me see if I can. And I'm going to glue the bejeebers out of this. Bejeebers, that is definitely a southern word. Does anybody else use the word bejeebers that's not from the South? Maybe it's not a southern thing, I don't know. But I know another thing we say is we're gonna glue the wad out of stuff, and I don't really like to say poop like that on video, which is kind of funny though, because people do say that wad out of it, and it's really true. You're going to use, but I'm just going to keep on shut my mouth before I put my foot in it too much further. Okay, same thing. Make sure you have your corners. Corners are very important. I have a ton of glue on this. I'm going to move my mat out of the way, and I'm going to try not to touch the side that I am going to place down. So try to hold the sides and lay it down for just a second. And before you place it, oh, see, I got glue on it. No! Sometimes a baby wipe will save that, but sometimes it's just inevitable. I'm going to grab my handy dandy baby wipe, which must go where my glue stick went last time. But anyway, okay, wipe my hands off, and then I'm going to center this where I want it. Can you see? You just kind of center it to where it's straight. I like to put mine in the center of the up and down and the side to side. And if you cannot get your side to side or your up and down to where this is straight across, man, I really got glue on this. It's probably because either your spine was off, like your books were off centered, which is so such the reason that let me grab this. The reason that I used my, I can't do these one time, okay, is the reason why I used my good guillotine on this. and that's why I was so picky when I was taping it, because you really want these to be straight. Sometimes if you have them, if you don't rub too hard, you can get this glue off of the cardstock real quick, but just don't rub too hard or it'll rub away like the surface of the book. But you want to make sure that you basically have this, okay, in the center, okay? Now, it's basically, it may be a little bit higher up, a little bit more room up here than down here, but that's okay. I just really want the edges. You can get all measury about it if you want to, but I'm going to, immediately while the glue is still drying, I'm going to close my book. I'm going to do like this down the spine, okay? Make sure that it's still, you still have the even edges, meaning that the book is still intact. Okay, sometimes you will see a little bit of bubbling. Fortunately here, I'm not seeing any bubbling because I laid it out pretty flat, but I do want to get my bone folder. And right where the chipboard starts, I'm going to do like this. Then I'm going to lift it up and I'm going to do like that. And I'm just going to make sure that this is ready to take in my guts. Now, this is one of the planners, and I've already undone the staples because I destroyed my fingernails, and I really don't have fingernails, but I got stuck it under my nails so many times. So I'm just, I've already carefully done this before, and then I just reach in here, and I just carefully, just once they're straight up like that, just pull it away from it, and voila, I've got my guts, and my pages are already folded over for me. I hate that I got so much glue on this, but like I said, this is a demo book. I'm not planning on selling this one anyway because I have so many already made. Okay, dry that a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to take my planner and I'm going to do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. If you're afraid of 3-hole pamphlet stitch, don't worry about it. And you're probably thinking, but that chipboard is so thick. It is, but we're not going to be going through chipboard. Remember that this is going to be tie-back tape that we're going through. So we're going through cardstock, fabric, and tie-back tape. Another tool that's very useful to have, which I'm looking for desperately, is my awl. AWL, I believe, awl. And this is for book binding. I do a lot of different types of book binding, but this works great for punching through thicker things. I want to make sure that my book is up in the same direction as this. Then I'm going to put it in the center like this, and I'm going to kind of close it. Okay, and the great thing is if you're not making, like, using white paper that you have to fold like you do in a regular, like when you're making like a coffee dyed pages in a junk journal or regular pages in a junk journal, you don't have to worry about it so much because they're already so they have the predisposition to be already folded, so that works out fabulous. Okay, and I just want to, usually you have the staple marks here and you're probably thinking, oh my goodness, but your staple marks are going to show. No, they're not, because your thread is going to cover that up. So I'm going to grab, you can use, a thicker twine if you want, but I prefer using these double or tripled embroidery thread for this, as long as the integrity is intact, because it lays flatter. So I have blue in this, so I think I'm going to pick out a little bit of blue. And you can, the thing is too, if you have different colors in your fabrics, you can always make the fabric. I don't think I'm going to be using that one. That one's trying to be too much of a pain and I'm on camera. So you can use different colors to add another like little layer of color dimension. Okay, so I have like some brown dogs in here. So I'm going to measure this out to about 3, maybe a little over 3, and maybe a little over 3 times, okay? And I'm going to snip it. Okay. Surprisingly, my scissors were within reach. Now, I'm just going to use one more for this one because I'm just doing demonstration. You can use 2 if you think your integrity of your thread is a little thinner, or it's not, it's a little bit older. I mean, you can test it and see if it's going to come apart like that one. Okay, so we're not using that one. next. But you probably do want to test them like that. All right, here's another black one. And I know this one's good because I used it the other day. Okay, so you're gonna take these and you're gonna, you know, measure them out. And I already have one cut for me, so I'm gonna make the other one cut, and it makes it just a lot easier. I mean, it's gonna, if you cut them around the same. Okay, now I have this. I'm gonna lay it aside, and I'm gonna look very quickly up here for my my needle, like the embroidery. Not, I guess you can embroider with this or do like other crafts where you want a blunt into needle, and this one's about 2 inches long or so. And these work really well for, as you may know already if you do junk journals. But okay, I'm gonna thread this through here, and I'm gonna do it like this. I'm going to thread this. I say I'm gonna thread this. Trying to hurry and it makes me shake and stuff. Okay, going to try this again. I say it's so easy because these eyes are bigger, but okay, yay. Okay, I'm just gonna pull it through about like that, because I'm going to end up not wanting to lose the string when I go through. Okay, great, here we go. We have you want about even lengths on either side of your journal, and you want to push that spine back into that fold to make sure that, now you can use clips to hold these down in space in their places, but I found that I can usually pretty much use my thumb, and I'm going to go through about the middle, and I've already determined this is about the middle, and I'm going to push it. And if you have to kind of turn it over, it's going to come through, and I'm going to make sure I go all the way through with my awl. If you want to do this with your needle, you can, but always try, if you slip a little bit, always find that center again with your awl. Go down to about here. Go all the way through and get it, that hole, like very pronounced through here. Okay, so, and then I'm coming in for my last. I'm going to make sure I recenter, make sure that the pages go through the hole that I made. Oh, somehow I picked up a, how in the world did that happen? Okay, there we go. Okay, picked up a hair somewhere in my thread. Okay, that's back centered, so I'm going to do my top one now. You don't have to do the bottom one or the top one in a certain order, but you definitely want to get that middle one. Okay, so I'm going to come out, but I'm going to hold it in place, and I'm going to use this as a holder. I'm going to put my awl through here. You don't have to, but I just found out that works. It holds it. I'm going to go through with my thing, and it just goes right on through. Boom. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way through. Okay, and with the awl, it's easier to see your holes. And if you have your awl in there, it kind of holds it in for you, so it's not that big of a deal finding the paper. I say it's not. Watch it be. Okay. When you go through the hole again, so I'm going to go through the hole with my needle again, and I just said that wouldn't happen with your awl, but apparently, since I'm on video and I'm all nervous and trying to work harder, it's going to do that. All right, I'm going to take it out, center with my awl again, and I'm going to try this again. Why must you do this when I'm trying to record? Oh, that's it, because I'm trying to record. Okay, come through. All right, here we go. Ta-da! Okay, take out the awl, reposition everything to where it's straight, and then put this one back through the bottom. And if I'm holding this like this firmly, then I shouldn't have a hard time finding that center hole again. So remember that your thread is going to, you go back through the same hole, but your thread is going to come out. Darn it. Okay. Said this wasn't going to happen, but it did. Okay. Okay, if for some reason you have trouble finding the hole and you want to tighten this up a little bit, pull like this, and that gets you back, your hole back with your paper aligned. Okay, put it back through the same hole that you started through. Okay, and it's supposed to come right through that center hole. I'm making a fool out of me on this video tonight. You don't want to get too many holes in it. You won't actually use the same hole. Why are you doing this to me? All right, I've come off camera a little bit so I can, okay, there we go. So I can grasp it a little better. I'm not used to making it out, been out like this and on the floor either. Okay, so I have both of these on, okay, let me make sure that this double thread comes through because I don't need it double. I don't need 4 threads, I just need the 2. So whichever one of you, okay. Now, you're going to, you don't want to pull too much because this paper is kind of thin in the journal. So you're just going to want to, you can pull it a little bit, but just kind of help it along. Make sure that, let's see, these threads, these 2 threads that you started with should be on one side. So I'm going to lift this up and I'm going to, I want it on the other side so it can be like I'm tying a double knot. Okay, always hold, and I'm not, noticing I'm not taking my thread out of my needle yet. This saves a step, and I'll show you, I'm going to come, okay, you want to make sure that these are through. Okay. It, sometimes when you have 2 strings, it may appear that they're crooked, but this is actually straight. Okay. All right. Now, you want to take the one with the needle, and that's fine. Just make sure you just hold, you can hold this side like this. All right, we're going to go, I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to take, you go, I'm trying to show you this, and now it's not working. Okay, go over one way with the needle and come down tight. Not too tight, but pretty firm, but like again, you don't want to rip. Okay, and then I'm going to do this one the other way, and I believe this is the other way. It's supposed to make it stay, but we're going to make it doubly sure when we do what I'm about to show you. Okay, if you don't, I don't like these strings dangling in my books unless I'm going to put charms on them or something, and I was trying to find so much, I was trying to find a way around that, and so basically I'm just going to, this needle eye is big enough for me to take the other 2, and I'm going to run them. You can do them separately if you want to, but it's a lot less wear and tear on the paper, and you can do it all within one step, or in one step. So I'm going to bring both sides of my thread in, okay? And they're all facing this way. If you can see that, they're all, let me see if I can prop it on my knees. They're all facing this way. Go all the way down. What you're going to do is you're going to take this, these 4 that you have through here, and you're going to run it back through your hole, not on the outside, but just on the inside. And how you can do that is you can barely go through a little bit, and then if you flip this down, you can, if I can get a, I'm trying to do this on video, and it's so much harder, people, on video. Okay, and I keep losing my grip. Okay, you put this through, and you come out here. See how I've come out the hole that I went through, but not on the outside. Ta-da! This works really well in a lot of scenarios because you can hide your sewing or your threads by doing this way. Okay, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do a double knot, and then I'm going to try to do it the other way. It's a little bit easier when you're not trying to hold the needle on the thread. You can take it off, but I just am trying to save time. Okay, so you have this. Okay, look at that inside. Okay, you saw that here, folks. Okay, I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut it as short as I can, but not cut the knot. Okay, so I have this little bitty bit left, right? You can leave it here, but when I fold this through, and you can take your bone folder and don't pull too much. I don't have my bone folder, so I'm going to take, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take this little piece of chipboard, and I'm just going to kind of do like this, and it hides it. It kind of falls between the pages of the book, and since I have the signatures tied securely and pretty tightly, it will go right under that book, and because the thread's not too big, it won't be too thick, and it folds. Boom. Here we go. This is what we have. This is what we made. You can decorate the sides with twine, or, I mean, not twine. Well, if you want to, you can do anything you want to do. You can use ribbon or embroidery thread and use like some Fabrifix or something to hold this fabric glue that they sell called Fabrifix. Mine's on the desk. Or Fabri-Tac. I actually have found a difference between the two. I found that the Fabri-Tac is a little bit waterier. What is up with me tonight? Waterier, if maybe just slightly, but I noticed that it takes longer for my certain things, like fabric-wise or twine-wise. I mean, trim-wise, it takes it longer to set, and it doesn't have the instant grab. Fabri-Tac does not, that Fabrifix does, and that's just by trial and error and using both of them. I found that out. Some people will tell you there's not a difference. Why am I holding this? Because I'm just going to show a little trick that I did last night. I got these cool, there's like several, like there's more than a yard on here, and so I didn't have these on spools, but I wanted to be able to see them in my drawer, like lay them out like that. And I usually have my spools lined up like this if I have a significant amount on the spools, but I didn't have any extra spools, so I took this, this is not a paper towel roll. This is actually a little bit thicker. You can find these in, I think maybe parchment paper and wax paper rolls. Tin foil, they don't tend to be as thick, but I found these and I just cut the edges and then just mashed them down like this and made it flower out so these don't slide off. And then I just wound them around this spool. And then I found this, and if you don't, I'm kind of nervous using needles because I tend to drop them and step on them on top of dropping them. Yes, I mean, my feet will find them. So I hate that. And that may be why I have a phobia of sewing sometimes, because I do not like a needle sticking in my foot. So, ooh, okay, anyway, I just have an issue with needles. Oh my gosh, don't go with me when I have to get my blood drawn or a shot. Okay, anyway, basically moving on, coming back to a shot, they do put, or having your blood drawn, they do put this medical tape, and that's what I've done. Instead of using a pen to hold the things, I've used the medical tape, like they put around your arm to bind up where you've had a shot or had blood drawn, and it holds, y'all. It holds so well, and that's something that I've just found in the trenches, so to speak. So I wanted to throw that in there. Okay, so now I have this journal. Let's preview it. Go through. Here's what I have, and I have my pages, and I have my center, which doesn't stick out. You don't open it and it falls straight to the center usually, because that's usually what it does when you have a signature, I've found. But with doing it this way, it doesn't tend to do that as much. And we have our completed planner. Now, that did not take very long. I talked, and it still only took me less than 50 minutes. It takes me about 25 when I'm not running my mouth, okay? And but basically, you have this, and you can kind of play with the spine a little bit. This one's pretty even. But what I do is I will, in order to make this it may come up a little bit like this, but if you'll notice, some of the ones that I have now, like this one, it's done the same way, but it doesn't come up like pop up like this, and it's because I put it between, squeezed it through some really like books. I squeezed on either side and just made it as tight as I can get it. You could also put it under something heavy, but make sure that the thing that you put it under that's heavy doesn't have indentions on it, because then this part will pick up the indentions from the object. Okay, yes, I just totally did all that. I am under 50 minutes, and I have less than half a minute, so I just want to say that I have an Etsy store, which I I did put some of these in for Christmas presents, or for hopefully somebody will grab these before the end of the year, or before we're too much into 2022. But anyway, great Christmas presents, and these are in my store also, and I'm on Etsy under the Creator's Attic. Thank you, and please tune in again for more gift ideas and holiday ideas. Thank you. Have a great one. Bye-bye.